Lesson number 1, White Mice. The story is narrated by a little boy. He was to return to his parents after his summer vacations. His uncle Ken, who came to the station to see him off, puts him on a wrong train. When the boy realized the mistake, his uncle made he gets down at Lucknow and sends a telegram to his grandfather. The kind station master, Mr. Ghosh, keeps the boy safe till his grandfather reaches Lucknow and invites him to his house. Mr. Ghosh Mr. Ghosh's house was just behind the station. He brought me a cup of sweet, milky tea and two large rasgullas. Now let me show you my family, he said, and he took me by the hand and led me to a veranda at the back of the house. There was a miniature railway completed with a station railway bungalows, signal box, and next to it a miniature fairy ground completed with swings and rounded and a fairy's wheel. 5 turned to 20 white mice were dancing on the round board and the fairy's wheel. Another dozen or so ran in out of tunnels and climbed on a toy train. Mr. Ghosh present the button a little train covered with white mice led the station and went rattled off to the far corner of the veranda. See, true or not true. The boy got down at Delhi to send a telegram to his grandfather. No. Mr. Ghosh invited the speaker to his office. No. It was all so impulsive. By the time grandfather arrived, I had fed biscuits to white mice and fallen asleep in a huge armchair in Mr. Ghosh's living room. I woke up to find the station master busy showing grandfather his little railway colony to white mice. Grandfather was interested in the toy train, but he said polite things about the mice, commending their pink eyes and pretty lit feet. Mr. Ghosh beamed with pleasure and sent out more rasgullas. When grandfather and I had settled into the compartment of a train late that night, Mr. Ghosh came to the window to say goodbye. As the train began moving, he thrust a cardboard box into my hands and said, "A present for you and for your grandfather." More rasgullas, I thought later when the train was underway and I lifted the lid of a box. I found two white mice asleep on bed of cotton wool. Back in Dehra, I kept the white mice in their room. I had plans for them. After dinner, I slipped into my uncle's room and raised released the white mice under his bed sheet. An hour later, we all had to leap out of our bed when Uncle Ken dashed out of his room, screaming that something soft and furry was running around his clothes. Well, of his clothes, said Grandfather, leaving me awake. He had a good idea of what had happened. After Uncle Ken had done a tap dance, one white mice finally came out from the clothes, but the another one had run up in shave of his pajama coat and suddenly popped out behind his chin. Uncle Ken started panic, convinced that his room was full of white mice, pink, white, and brown. He locked himself in a storeroom and slept on an old sofa. Next day, grandfather took me to station and put me on the train to Delhi. It was a right train this time. I look after the white mice, he said. Grandfather grew quite fond of white mice and even wrote to Mr. Ghost asking if he could spare another pair. But Mr. Ghosh, he learned later, had been transferred to another part of the country and had taken his family on white mice with him. From Uncle Ants and Elephants by Ruskin Bond. Thank you.